Thanks, Danny Benjamin, for letting me know your article is done. Whoops.
All right, welcome. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the Awesemo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show presented by Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports. Got a nice Monday 7-gamer to discuss, and I'm here with Josh Harris, inventor of the Josh Stack. How's it going, Josh? How did the weekend go for you?
I was really busy this weekend. I played a full slate on Friday, but Saturday I work all day at the pizza place, so I just threw a GPP lineup in the 15 just to keep the Iron Man streak alive. Then Sunday NHL during the football season's always a bit wonky. Sunday NHL in general is a bit wonky because you don't really get too much news. It's usually the games are all over the place in times of starting, so the slate lasts like 12 hours, so it's a bit rough. But if you didn't have your boy Yossi, slate over.
Yeah, it was slate over. And even if you did have him, still seemed like I had a good lineup going yesterday, and needed Vegas to score on Sorokin, and he had like a 40 save shutout. So I got buried pretty quick there. Pretty brutal end to the weekend. Saturday was decent for me. I can't remember what I had. I had a bunch of pretty good lineups. Didn't actually think, or no, I think I won the 33, but I didn't win the 20, which I thought I was pretty live for. So getting close, but take a little bit of profit for the weekend for sure. What are your initial thoughts on this slate before we go game by game?
I like this slate. I like these mid-range slates, 7 games. I can actually talk a little bit about each game without having to rush through it, or on short slates I end up like touting Mark Stahl, and it's just a bad look for me. But like I really like this slate. The problem that I'm running into is 6 of the 7 games lock right at lock. So if you got to really pay attention to the news, and there's not going to be many late swapping options tonight, so you really got to be locked in at the start.
Yeah, it's kind of like a turbo. Like I didn't realize going through it, and then I'm like, all right, did I scroll back on some of these games in the lineup builder? Because all I'm seeing is 7 Eastern starts until the very last game on the slate. So late swap, not really going to be a thing. It looks like a lot of backups starting tonight, like more than what we're accustomed to seeing, or at least likely to start. Like both backups expected to start in the Kings Blues game. You've got, let's see, Shesterkin. I mean, he's not the backup there. You got Spencer Knight, Carter Hutton, 2 Carters, bunch of Carters in the NHL. Anton Forsberg, Craig Anderson, Brian Elliott, like a lot of names that we like to attack. So could be the makings of a big, a high-scoring slate. So we'll see what happens. I see a bunch of people have already joined. Thank you guys, as always, for joining and liking the show. More importantly, if you could subscribe, and you'll get notifications when you do so. You'll see all of our NHL shows. You'll see college football, MLB, obviously NFL, NBA coming at you like 3 to 5 times per day. We've got VODs getting uploaded all the time. We've got site-specific stuff if you're looking to play NBA on some other sites, including Yahoo, and then as well as the 2-hour live streams every day, deeper dive and live before lock. We basically got everything. So if you could subscribe, if you have not already, that would be greatly appreciated. We're giving away some free stuff As you guys know, the free premium tools for today are the NHL rankings, the NBA projections, and the NFL showdown top plays. So if you like the boom bust tool for NBA, if you're coming over from NBA, if you like the top stacks tool, the NFL showdown top plays tool is essentially that, but just for NFL showdown. So huge prizes to be won, as always, including over on Yahoo. So they got 10K to first. That's not too bad, especially when you're not going to play against a lot of the top names. If you guys are considering signing up, I would suggest doing it today. If you're looking to lock in for platinum, we've still got promo code Curry. This is the absolute last day you're going to get access to this promo code Curry, like Steph Curry. 50% off your first week of Awesemo Plus Platinum. We don't often do platinum discounts, and this is the one that we've got to celebrate the beginning of NBA season, also the beginning of NHL. With the platinum membership, you'll get access to projections, ownership projections, the boom bust tool, as I mentioned, all the showdown stuff for all sports, everything on the site, basically, excluding Fantasy Cruncher, including all the NHL tools. And you'll get it for $15 for the first week to try it out. You'll get access to the Discord, which is super valuable if you play NHL, because there's always some late breaking news. There's some line changes. There's some surprise goalies we've seen at times so far this season. So you're going to want to join up and use the promo code Curry when you do. The link in the description will take you right there too, if you're wondering how to get there. Otherwise, you can just go to awesemo.com/join. Yes, people are suggesting Cliffy is out today doing his hair. Yes, Monday is his scheduled day off to get that hair looking nice for Tuesday through Saturday. Let's start with the first of 7 games. We've got the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Buffalo Sabres. 3.5 implied total for the Lightning, 2.5 for the Sabres. Brian Elliott and Craig Anderson expected to go. Anderson likely. Elliott is confirmed. First time we're getting a non-Andre Vasilevsky start. Lightning, pretty disrespectful here to my Buffalo Sabres. Is there anything that you're drawn to in this game besides the high ownership on the Tampa side?
Yeah. Unfortunately, like, the Sabres aren't as terrible as I thought they were going to be, although, like, it's a small sample, so maybe they're going to end up being terrible. But you look at these numbers on the Tage Thompson, Victor Olofsson line, they have a decent sample, 55 minutes. Like, that's not huge. I want to see more, but, like, they have a 63% Corsi for 3.2 or 3.12 expected goals for, and they've been pretty good defensively too. Only 1.46 expected goals against, which is, and it's a small sample, so it's probably going to, regress to the mean a little bit, but they're going to be going up against Tampa 1 for the most part. Buffalo doesn't really hard match at home, but, Point, Stamkos, Palat, not overwhelmingly good defensive numbers for them. Tampa's best defensive line is no longer, as they broke up last year after the playoffs. So I don't mind, little Tage Thompson, Victor Olofsson 2-man. Like, I don't think, this far into the season, I know it's only 5 games, that I'd be recommending Buffalo, because I thought they were easily going to be one of the worst teams in the NHL, and they still might end up being awful. But, like, that duo, not too bad. They both correlate on power play 1. They've been generating a lot of chances. Their minutes have been, pretty decent. So, especially Olofsson, he's been getting, 17, 18 minutes. Tage Thompson a little bit less. You want to, add in Jeff Skinner to make a full 3-man power play stack, you can do it. I'm not a huge believer in Tampa defensively so far this season. Their blue line's supposed to be pretty good. They've been underwhelming so far. So yeah, I mean, I do like a little bit of Buffalo here. And of course, like, I like Tampa 1 here. Buffalo Sabres goalies, not great. And, Stamkos seems like he's getting back to the player he was. And with Kucherov out, he's been getting a lot more playing time. So yeah, he's a bit expensive at 7,700, but there's so many good value plays tonight that I think you can definitely full stack Tampa 1 tonight. You want to do some kind of power play thing, that's fine. I don't know if I would really want to put in a Corey Perry on the power play 1 stack. So I think I would probably just go Tampa 1 here. Or, if you want to leave Palat off, I'd probably go with Killorn instead of Perry.
Yeah, I think so. Tampa 1, I'll just get them out of the way. They're perfectly fine for me. Looking at their ownership compared to their chance of being a top 2 stack in the top stacks tool, they're pretty much even, a little bit of positive leverage. So I'm fine using them. Just know that that's going to be one of the more popular options on the slate. So if you're looking to cookie cutter 4-3-1 correlated goalie, you better make sure you're doing it with a low owned secondary stack, or maybe leaving a couple $100 on the table. But yeah, I think Tampa 1's fine. It's not like I'm scared of Buffalo, but I do think that if they continue to put up numbers like this, they're at least going to be able to score. So they might be a bad team, but they could be a fun bad team, one that can be good for both sides for DFS. You mentioned the Buffalo. I've got their Buffalo 2 on the lineup builder. It's Buffalo 1. I think the Tage Thompson line with Olsen, Rasmus Asplund. They're fully correlated, top power play, and great 5-on-5 numbers. So the way I think of it here is, maybe they're going to be inefficient at finishing, even if they have these high, these really good possession numbers. But if they're doing this game in and game out and generating a lot of chances, they're going to have games where they score 2 or 3 goals, right? So at this cheap price, probably not getting a ton of the Point Palat Stamkos line, even if they get them some, they're not going to get them the full time this price. And I mean, they've been really good so far. It's been not great competition, but they were okay against Boston. That was a pretty tough matchup last time out. And I'm taking some stabs on Buffalo too here. I just don't see a reason to get away from them. The Cousins, Skinner, Hinostroza line, I'm a little bit less high on, but they're coming in at about a fifth of the ownership of Buffalo 2. So both lines low owned. Buffalo 1, the Skinner line very, very low owned. If you want to throw in Rasmus Dahlin for 4,400 with either of the top 2 lines, it's okay. He just doesn't project well for us at all. I think his shot rates have been pretty low, and his price is always kind of high for the amount of minutes that he plays. So not a great value, but more of an add-on piece for me. Anything else left in this game?
I mean, Tampa's second pair of McDonough and Chernak always interests me. They're a bit more expensive than I want, but if you're in the range where you need someone in the mid 3s, I think McDonough and Chernak are fine one-offs.
Yeah, I was actually getting to just one general thing. I try not to play 2 defensemen from the same team unless they're both on top power play. I'm thinking of Ellis and Yossi from a couple of years ago when they both play top power play at times. I think that type of thing is fine, but I was getting a bunch of lineups so far, and just part of being rusty on playing or making my lineups on Fantasy Cruncher. I was getting Hedman and Sergachev and Hedman and Cernak. I don't think I like that, especially on this big of a slate. So probably going to avoid that. But just a note there, I think all those guys fine individually, but probably wouldn't have them in the same lineup together if I can avoid it. Let's go to the Capitals and the Ottawa Senators. 3.6 implied total for the Caps, 2.9 for the Senators. Ilya Samsonov and Anton Forsberg. Matt Murray's on the IR. I didn't see what happened there. I just got a notification that he was on the IR. So they're going with Forsberg and Philip Gustafsson till further notice.
He's their best goalie, probably.
What's that?
Philip Gustafsson is probably their best goalie.
Yeah. So here we're down to their third goalie here right now with Forsberg tonight, at least. Huge total on the Caps side. You've got Caps 1, pretty expensive for Ovi. They fixed his price finally on DK. Kuznetsov, now his price is broken probably in the wrong way. So he's up to 7K. And then you've got third wheel Tom Wilson, who's not too bad of a third wheel for 4,600 here. In what looks to be a pretty good spot on the road against the Senators. The rest of the Capitals lines are pretty brutal to try to stack because you got, I didn't see any news about, Lars Eller. Okay. I'm seeing Lars Eller. I didn't see him get moved down in practice today, but it is updated on the lineup builder. So I'm assuming that got changed at some point since their last game. Mm-hmm. So you got Carmichael centering Mantha and Oshie.
Connor McMichael,
Connor McMichael, kind of combined his names there, save a little bit of time. Lars Eller down to the 4th line. And it's weird because they use that 4th line in the shutdown role when they're at home. Here, I don't know why it would make sense to leave Eller down there, but this is what they're going with, at least to start the game. I don't have any faith that Washington 2 through 4 will stick together. So it's probably just Washington 1 for me. What do you think about Caps 1, and then take this one wherever you'd like on the Ottawa side, if there's anything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm never a huge fan of the Caps because they're just usually very expensive and they don't correlate great. But like tonight, I think you look at the ownership and Caps 1 is very high owned, but then you go down to Caps 2, very low owned, and you have Mantha and Oshie, who are both on the top power play. So I think you can mix and match them in for some power play stacks for the Caps here. You could do like Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Mantha. 7K Kuznetsov is a bit rough to swallow, but like in GPPs, I think you can do it. I wouldn't be paying $7,000 in cash for getting Kuznetsov, but you can do Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, Oshie. You can even go 3 wings here, go Ovechkin, Mantha, Oshie. You get some lower owned trios there. I think that's perfectly fine. I also, I think the Senators' top line is in play for me as well. Their ownership's in check. It's not super high. Around 5-6%. Brady Tkachuk always the highest owned of the 3, but I think you can definitely use that line in GPPs. They fully correlate on the power play. Capitals okay defensively, especially on the road. It's a bit questionable because they use Eller as the shutdown. Now he's on the 4th line, so I would imagine that Eller line is not even going to get the Tkachuk line or the the Stützle line. So Ovechkin, Kuznetsov have some poor defensive numbers going back a few seasons. So I don't mind using that top line. I think you can also use that second line, Stützle, Paul Brown. I don't know how much I would use. They don't correlate very great on the power play. So I think I would just, one off like a Stützle on that line to add in some power play correlation. But I do like Ottawa 1 as well. So on the Cap side, I'm not going to tell you no if you want to stack Caps 1, but for me, I'm going to be concentrating on some power play stacks.
Yeah, that might be a good way to differentiate a little bit. Since this is a little bit of a smaller slate rather than the 10, 11, 12 gamers we've had earlier in the season, down to 7 here, I'm going to be mixing in some more full power play stacks, I think. And so Washington is one I'll at least allow for. I'm not going to allow for an Arizona 5-man power play stack. We'll get to Arizona in just a bit, but for like these teams with good implied totals and quality players and a stacked top power play like the Caps have, I think that's fine to mix in on a slate this big. Do a little 5-2-1 build. I know you're fond of that. If you're missing baseball season, there you go. There's your 5-2-1 build. But yeah, Caps 1, if you want to include Wilson, that's fine. If you don't, you want to include one of the other guys on the top power play, I think that's okay as well. Ottawa 1, their ownership's actually a lot lower than what I thought it would be when I looked at this last night. I just assumed they'd be like 8 to 10%. But yeah, I don't know what I'm missing here. Maybe Josh Norris is priced quite a bit high for what we have him projected at, and Batherson isn't projected at an elite value. And so maybe it's like that other sites as well. But fully correlated top power play and going up against Kuznetsov, Ovi, Wilson, which has historically bad 5-on-5 numbers, at least giving 5-on-5 numbers to the opposing team. So I like Ottawa 1. I like Ottawa 2 a little bit as well. The problem is that I think Oshie and Mantha on the same line, like if they're going to go up against them a bunch, I don't really love going into those two guys, especially if there was Eller there. I don't know a ton about Connor McMichael, but I have to imagine like it's just weird the way that the Caps are distributing their ice time. So like all their top 5 forwards, so Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, Wilson, Mantha, Oshie, I guess you included Eller in there as well. Those guys all play like their minutes, but then you're getting like Connor Sheary playing like 9 minutes some games, Sprong playing like 8-9 minutes some games. And then the 4th line at home plays a ton. So I never know how to project these Caps. But anyways, on the road here, they can't use the shutdown line in the role that they would like to. So maybe you see a little bit of an increase in time on ice for the top 6 here. Where was I? Oh, Ottawa 2. Kind of like this Paul Stützle and Connor Brown trio if they're going to come in at like 1 or 2% ownership. So I'll take some stabs there as well. Apparently, I'm just on the bad teams. It's like it's 2018. So Sabres and Senators, first 2 games, I'm off to a hot start. We'll talk about a good team here in just a second that everyone's going to want to play. But anyone on the blue line here?
On the blue line in this game, they're just too expensive for me. I mean, obviously, if you're using Caps power play, Carlson makes sense. 6,200 still a fair price. If you're using Ottawa 1, I think Chabot 6,600 makes some sense. But like you look at Artie's, my son Artem Zub 5,100. It's overpriced. You know, Zaitsev, his price is coming down, but 3,900 is still too much for me. And the other side, like Schultz over 4K, Orlov over 4K. You know, Van Riemsdyk min price, but he doesn't do too much for me. I'm probably going to look for a defenseman elsewhere.
Cliffy says, for what it's worth, Nick Paul has some of the best defensive impacts in the NHL the last 2 years. So there you go. And he's saying that the Paul line should see Ovi the most. I actually don't love that for DFS. I'd rather Ottawa 1 go up against Kuznetsov and Ovi. But yeah, I mean, if Ottawa 2 is going to get the better 5-on-5 matchup, then yeah, maybe a little bit more Ottawa 2 than I was anticipating here. All right, let's just get this one over with. We've got the Yotes and the Florida Panthers, 2.2 implied total for the Coyotes, 3.8 for the Panthers. Panthers, depending on your book, and go to Odd Shopper and find your favorite book if you haven't just yet. We'll have NHL accessible on there pretty soon. NBA, NFL is up there, but if you haven't used Odd Shopper, it's a free tool. It's an amazing tool. We're going to have expected ROI baked in there as well. It's very easy to find bets very quickly. If you go on Odd Shopper, you're going to see a bunch of different lines, and they're going to be all around minus 300, minus 310. Panthers are massive favorites here. They've got 2 quality lines, at least, maybe a third, depending on the status of our boy Lundell. I didn't see. Is he out for the Panthers tonight?
He's out tonight, yeah.
All right, so we don't get Florida 3 night tonight, although Brandon says Florida 3 night tonight in chat. So maybe we do. Maybe Brandon's onto something there.
Maybe he likes E2D2 Oosterainen or whatever.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to go there with that name. That one just scares me just looking at it. But you got Florida 1, Florida 2, both getting ownership. Barkov, one of the highest known players on the slate. We got him at 26% ownership. The stack a little bit lower owned. People will leave off Duclair. People will definitely leave off Carter Verhaeghe. So where are you at on this Florida game? You just slamming Florida 2 per usual?
I think I like Florida power play, especially Patrick Hornquist is like 3,400 power play 1 on the 4th line. Yeah. And like here I am touting a 4th liner again, but like he's coming in at 1%. The Arizona penalty kill is terrible. Carter Hutton hasn't stopped a goal since 1993. You know, like his like goals against his save percentage is under like 80% so far this season. I think you can power play stack the Panthers tonight and use Patrick Hornquist. He's coming in at like 1%. He's 3,500. What is he exactly?
34. You were
3,400. 1.8%. You know, ownership projection right now. Even that comes up to like 2-3%. I think, you know, including him is a nice way to get different because you see like Barkov 26%, Sam Bennett 19%, Huberdeau 19%. You know, so I think including Patrick Hornquist in these stacks is a nice way to get different. You can do like a Barkov, Huberdeau, Hornquist, a Bennett, Barkov, Hornquist, something like that. I mean, if you want to stack either of these top 2 lines outright, that's perfectly fine. Like Florida 1 has crazy good numbers and a huge sample size. Florida 2's numbers are good in a 75-minute sample. And you look at these lines that they're going up against, like the Coyotes top line that's going to get Barkov has a 47% Corsi 4. The Jay Beagle line has a 45% Corsi 4. So, I mean, like, in theory, the Coyotes are just going to get run over tonight.
Yep.
And that's why there's, massive chalk on the Panthers. So I think you got to find ways to get a bit different. And I think Hornquist is the guy there. And I think, you include Ekblad in some of these in these stacks too as well, because he's 7K. It's going to be a little bit tough to fit. You're going to have to find value elsewhere. But if you're just going to cookie cut stack the Panthers, there's a good chance you're going to be duped. So I like mixing and matching, especially on the power play for the Coyotes tonight. And then on the on the Panther side. On the Coyotes side, there really is not too much that I like on the Coyotes tonight. It's just, this is just not a good matchup. So I mean, I don't know. I think
if you're off of him, then no one should be on him, because that's your guy.
I mean, I wish Dmitry Yaskin was getting top power play time, but like, listen, I'm out on the Coyotes tonight. There is just nothing there for me.
Yeah, I mean, there's 14 teams on the slate. There's 13 others in better spots. It's just hard to imagine Arizona being able to carry any sort of 5-on-5 play here. I will say the one line that I think maybe has a chance, if they don't go up a ton against the top two lines, or at least the top one. Well, I guess the top line doesn't have amazing defensive numbers so far, if I remember correctly, the Barkov line. But Lawson Krause, Johan Larsson, Clayton Keller, they were pretty good against the Islanders. Now, they were trailing in the game, so maybe it was just a bunch of empty shot attempts. I didn't look at venue adjusted, but what'd you say?
I said the Isles are also frauds. No, but I
mean, they beat Vegas last night. They haven't.
I don't know if they're fraudulent or not. I just like riling up the Islanders fans because they are insufferable.
aren't all hockey fans? I mean,
especially the
Islanders. Go in our chat. Yeah. But yeah, I think maybe a couple Arizona ones sneak in there for me. I think it's more likely that every line just gets run over for the Yotes. I like what you mentioned about Hornquist. I think he's going to be a guy I'm over the field on. If you want to go like Bennett, Huberdeau, and Hornquist, maybe even take some shifts with the Bennett line, because Tippett's only playing like 12 minutes a game. So he and Duclair are two guys I'm worried about. I'm not worried about stacking Verhaeghe with Barkov. If I was hand building a bunch of lineups tonight, I would probably have a bunch of like Barkov, Verhaeghe, and like Huberdeau, or Barkov, Verhaeghe, Hornquist. Like, I think that's a really, really strong duo. And we're projecting a lot of ownership on Verhaeghe, but I think he's going to be like half the ownership or less of Barkov when it's all said and done in your large field tournaments tonight because of his price. But yeah, just it's Panthers time for me tonight. This is chalk I'm eating. Ekblad, he's probably going to be somewhat popular. He's going to be popular in Florida stacks. I don't know how popular he'll be in one-offs. He's 7K, but I think he's an awesome play from a raw point perspective tonight. Now, not going to be a great value, so you might need to give him a thumbs up in FC if you want him to appear in some of your lineups. Mackenzie Weegar for 5,300. Is that a guy you like at all? If you can't get up to Ekblad, but you like the rest of your lineups, you got a Florida stack, he's going to be a guy that plays 22, 23 minutes tonight, probably. Like that at all?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be low owned because his price is in no man's land. He doesn't get power play time, but he does get that 5-on-5. He's on the ice all the time. So, yeah, he has good peripherals. I think you can play him as well. If you really need to punt, Brandon Montour is not too bad, 2,700. But really, it's Ekblad or Weegar for me. On the Yotes side, like, there's just
Chychrun. What are your thoughts on Chychrun at 6,500 tonight? Because they're probably going to get crushed, but maybe the shot attempts that they can produce are going to be from their defensemen, because I just don't know how they're going to be able to sustain the puck very often in the Florida zone.
Chychrun's going to get the time for sure. I just, not that the Arizona power play matters too much tonight. Maybe it does. I don't know. I'm not, I don't have a crystal ball, but Chychrun being off the top power play just hurts a little bit, putting Gostisbehere up there. But Chychrun finished a shot on goal and a block shot short of the combo meal last time at 6,500.
He was in my best lineup.
Yeah, that hurt. Yeah,
trust me.
He needs to get the bonuses to pay off at his price, because I find it hard to believe that the Coyotes are going to score multiple goals tonight.
Yeah, and I think Florida is one of the most highly penalized teams in the NHL. So maybe they come out and they commit a bunch of penalties. Like, that would be a reason to get onto some Arizona cheap and low owned, but I don't know. I mean, usually you're taking penalties. The other team is generating offense. I don't know how Arizona is going to be able to do that tonight very often. So Chychrun 6,500. He'll be a guy I want off some, but I find myself having to like limit the amount of him I actually get, because he's another one that's one of the higher raw point guys for blue liners, but he's just my brain is telling me maybe don't play as much Chikrin tonight.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd rather find the 500 for Ekblad.
Cliffy's touting Gostisbehere one-offs.
Listen,
man,
he's tweeting.
I don't know what they're putting in the hair gel, but I don't know.
He has a bunch of chemicals in his hair right now, and, you know, like, he's getting pampered, so maybe he's not in the right frame of mind, but 5K Gostisbehere, sure?
Yeah. I'm going to have to check on that one. Maybe I'm missing something. When Cliffy has a hot take like that, it's not out of nowhere, so we'll see. To be continued on the Gostisbehere one-off. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports is lucky enough to sponsor this show. If you guys didn't know that, make sure to mention them off the top. They're partnering with us this season. As you guys know, we've got an offer right now. If you go in the description and you click on the Yahoo link, you can get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. That is a $90 value. And all you have to do is spend $10, deposit $10, enter a paid contest on Yahoo. So just go to the link, you deposit at least $10, and you play in a paid contest. That's all you have to do. Yahoo's going to send us your name, and then we will reach out to you through our support channel and get you the coupon code to redeem that free month. So you'll be in Discord, be able to use all the tools on the site. And we've got Yahoo specific tools as well. If you want to use those for NFL, we're working on it for NHL. We've got them for NBA. Really good contests over there. A little bit smaller than the other sites, but that's good because that keeps away a lot of the sharks. They actually don't allow some of their top players to play on Yahoo, some of the most profitable players. So if you're a casual player, if you're someone trying to build a bankroll, I think Yahoo is the number one place you can do it. 12% management fees, sometimes guaranteed overlay. I've been playing this NFL contest, guaranteed overlay, like 150K on Yahoo every week. And I've been just donating on other sites. And it's like every week, even when my teams suck, it feels like I'm breaking even. Yesterday, I 1.5x'd, and I thought my teams were just terrible. So, man, Yahoo is really doing some good stuff for the industry. I would talk about them if they weren't even a sponsor. But even when they do have management fees, it's a lot lower than your other sites. Yahoo's great. Thanks for sponsoring, Yahoo. All right. Calgary and the New York Rangers, Josh's New York Rangers, 2.7 implied total for the Flames, 2.9 for the Rangers. Markstrom and Shesterkin are your expected goalies. And this is one I'm not really sure what I want to do in this game. Just some notes here. Strome back with Panarin, both top power play. Lafreniere back with Zibanejad and Kreider. Barclay Goodrow, the third guy on the Strome line. And Calgary 1's been playing really well this season. They're fully correlated on the top power play, but they are crazy expensive. And it's not like the Rangers are a sieve defensively. And they've got an up-and-coming goalie that maybe he's already arrived in the top half or top 10 goalies so far. And I don't know, maybe you think he's like top 3 or 4. You love Igor, but he's tough to target against. So I don't know what I'm liking here. It's not a ton, but you have something you got your eye on?
Not really. This is a MME game for me. Like I want to get behind some plays here. I just, there's nothing that I really want to be, primarily focused on. The Flames coach, I forgot his name. I call him the Muppet, but like he has them playing good defensively. Their Corsi numbers are in the top 10 in the NHL so far this season. And then you look at the Rangers top line, like with Kreider and Lafreniere with Zibanejad, they just don't create anything. Like they don't do anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing
crazy.
They're just there. They're just kind of like vessels on the ice. So like if I was going to go to the Rangers, it would be that second line. The Strome, Panarin, Goodrow is going to get Backlund, Coleman, and Pitlick. Like I don't know. Like I guess Pitlick has some decent defensive numbers. So there's just nothing that I would really want to do. So like for me, if I was going to go to a line on the Rangers, it'd be that second line, Strome, Panarin, Goodrow. But like it's just not a primary focus for me. I think, I'd have them in the mix if I was making 20 to 150, but in, 1 to 3, I think I'm out on the Rangers. And then the Calgary top line, getting that Zibanejad line, is fine. Like the Zibanejad line doesn't create much offensively. They gave up 11 high danger chances against per 60. Defensively, they have decent Corsi numbers. So like, I don't know. I just don't like targeting against Igor. Like he wins them games. Like his back has to be hurting from carrying the team already this season. So like, yeah, I think I'm not going to tell you no stacking the Flames because I think, they can definitely get there. But if I was building 3 to 5, they're not going to be a primary focus for me tonight. They're more like getting to 10 to 20 to 30. The more lineups I build, the more likelihood I'll have some Flames lineups, but this game just screams MME for me.
Yeah. So the Flames not only have they played well offensively, they played really well defensively. 1.3 expected goals against for 60 minutes so far. It's a small sample, so these could obviously change. The Zibanejad line, actually last year with Buchnevich, gave up just 2.1 expected goals against per 60.
You had to go to Buchnevich, huh?
Yeah, so he's back. We'll get to him. Maybe he won't be punching people tonight because I actually would like to play a full game of Pavel Buchnevich rather than one goal in the first 2 minutes and then you would just get ejected and get suspended, have to sit down for a couple of games. Yeah, you mentioned MME. Yeah, I wouldn't be playing this game if I wasn't playing like 20 or 150. So I'll have sprinkles just because I play a pretty spread out approach. So I'll have some full stacks in the event that these guys go off. And I'll be hoping it's the third wheels, it's the Lafrenières or the Barclay Goudreaus that get in on the fun should the Rangers go off. And then I find myself wanting to play Flames. I want to keep mentioning them, but they're really, really expensive. Like, do I really want to play them over Austin Matthews and Will Nylander and St. Louis 1 we'll get to, and maybe even like Carolina? Like I think I'd rather play Kings 1, I think, over this Calgary 1 lineup just because of the pricing. So yeah, I think I'll miss out on them if this is the ceiling game. They had a good game on Saturday early afternoon. But if they have another big one, I'm probably going to miss out on Flames one night. And defenseman Adam Fox, they're not making it easy for you to stack up these Rangers either. These prices are pretty prohibitive. 6,700 for him. If you want to play some Trouba, he's almost 5K and he's not even getting top power play time. K'Andre Miller, 3,100, but his minutes have been all over the place. Well, actually, they've just been pretty low, like well below 20 minutes on average so far this season. Yeah, this is just kind of a game that's like MME only, it seems like, except maybe Igor, 8K. What do you think of that price for him?
Yeah, I like both of these goalies. Igor, 8K, Jacob Markstrom, 7,400. I do worry a little bit about the Rangers shot volume for Markstrom, but at 7,400, I think he's okay. You want to use Nils Lundqvist, 2,500 power play too. His minutes are probably a concern, but min price, you could do worse.
All right, let's go to Toronto and Carolina. We've got a dead even game right now, according to Vegas. 3 implied total for the Leafs, 3 as well for the Hurricanes. Jack Campbell expected to go against Freddie Anderson in the return. Well, I guess he's not returning. They're in Carolina here, but going up against his old team from just a few months ago. And we've got some changes on the Leafs side. So do you have a take on Sheldon Keefe? How hot is his seat right now? Is he in danger of getting canned here?
I mean, I don't know, because like you think about it, like I know the Leafs got knocked out in the first round, but they didn't address anything in the offseason. So,
Just ran it back, yeah.
They brought in all these, wingers like Kasha and Bunting, and yeah, Bunting's a nice player. I really like him and Kasha, but like they didn't address the blue line. They didn't, they probably downgraded in net. I mean, yeah, Jack Campbell, those people will come at me, the Campbell fans, but like Peter Mrazek hurt, and I'd probably rather have Freddie than Peter Mrazek. I know Leafs fans got tired of Freddie. I'm not sure, it's too much on Keefe.
Just the way they've lost these games. Yeah. Like, they're losing the Sharks, and maybe the Sharks are just good. I don't know.
They've been playing good, which is
they just lost their first game yesterday to the Bruins.
But it was competitive. It wasn't like
4-3 game. So who knows? I mean, it's early. I wouldn't be firing coaches anytime soon. Like, this is an 82 game season. Like, they've got some time to make up ground here. It's not like they're 0-7.
What are they going to do though? Bring back Mike Dad Blabcock? You know what I mean? Like,
right. Exactly. Yeah. I think he's got a cushy job doing some studio broadcasting. I don't know right now with the ESPN situation, but I saw him kicking around at NBC at times last season. But Matthews playing with Nylander and Bunting. This is the line that everybody's excited about in our Discord right now. If you guys aren't in there, you're a premium sub. Make sure you get in there to talk some hockey and a bunch of other sports as well. It's a betting. DFS, we've got everything, season-long fantasy football. Matthews, Nylander, Bunting, Tavares, Kerfoot, and Marner. Those lines being said, no changes on Carolina from their last game. They're still going with their normal top 9. So which side do you like better here? Is this a line is this a night you want to deploy the new Matthews, Nylander, Bunting trio?
I don't know. I mean, Matthews and Nylander have absolutely bonker numbers together. Like, it's just, what's the phrase? Like, off the meat rack? Is that even a phrase? But like in like an hour sample size, they have 4.33 expected goals for per 60 with 22 high danger chances for per 60. Like, that's just silly season. The problem is this is a tough matchup. Like, going into Carolina is not a cakewalk. Yeah, they're going to get the Aho, Teravainen, and Kotkaniemi matchup. And that, that probably favors Matthews a little bit. Just, any line with Matthews is probably going to favor Matthews. But this is a tough matchup. Carolina is a good defensive team. Freddie and net if you're on, if you live on Narrative Street. So I do like this Leafs top line. I do worry that where am I here? That they're going to be a bit overowned. I know that in the lineup builder right now, they're projected Matthews 15%, Nylander 8%, but people just go to the Leafs here. They like Matthews is like a McDavid. He's going to end up 25-30% on most slates. I worry about the matchup here. Of course, like I've been saying, like I want to get on the Leafs train when the dam breaks. I just don't know if I want to do today. If the dam breaks today, I'm gonna take a stand here. I'm gonna be underweight to the field on the Leafs here. I like the Carolina side in this game, especially that second line, Trocheck, Svechnikov, Netchus. They're going to get Tavares, Marner, Kerfoot. Marner without Matthews is a fraud. You just look at the numbers. Like, the numbers don't lie. Like, his numbers without Matthews, they fall off a cliff. Kerfoot isn't a great scorer. So, like, I don't even know who's going to score on this on that line. So I would imagine, the Carolina side is going to possess the puck more. They're going to have more scoring chances. Yeah, Svechnikov is 7K, but he gets top power play time. Vincent Trocheck's price is very reasonable at 5K. I wrote him up in the power plays article that's coming out later. Marty Netchus ain't no slouch. He doesn't get top power play time, but he does get secondary. And it's just matchup. I really like this matchup. The Leafs aren't great defensively. So Carolina 2 is my favorite spot in this game. I even like the Aho line a little bit. I just don't like going into the Matthews matchup. So I'm probably going to be low on Carolina 1, but Carolina 2, even Carolina 3, I know Camp, Engdahl, and Kasha, decent defensive numbers, but, just price prohibitive. Stahl, Niederreiter, Foster, almost min-price to stack on DraftKings. They get secondary power play time, and it lets you fit in some other expensive spots.
Yeah, this is a Carolina night for me, for sure. And not saying that this is good of a spot as Florida, but I think there's a lot of interesting things you can do with them from a lineup construction standpoint. So you can stack Trocheck, Svechnikov, Netchus. That's one of my favorite lines for 5-on-5 full stacks tonight. But you could go just power play 1, like you go Aho, Teravainen, and Svechnikov, Aho, Teravainen, and Trocheck. You could 5-man power play stack them. And Carolina 2 is going up against the Tavares Marner duo, which has been pretty terrible defensively when Matthews hasn't been with Marner. So I love attacking them. I think Stahl, Niederreiter, Fost probably going to see some time, at least against the Matthews, Nylander, Bunting trio. They're not going to play against them the whole game because then they would be playing 20 minutes. But it's going to be lines 1 and 3, I would imagine. And I really prefer Carolina here. So I'm holding off one more time on Leafs here. It hasn't burned me yet this season. I could see this being a really high scoring game if Matthews and Nylander just go in God mode. But I'm really liking the Carolina side more, especially when you consider the ownership on this Toronto line and what looks to be a pretty tough 5-on-5 spot. Tony D, 4,400 is a guy that I'm going to get to a lot just because I'm playing a bunch of Carolina and you've got two guys in the top power play in each of the top two lines. So he works out well from a stacking standpoint. I don't know if I'm going to play a lot of him as a one-off for 4,400. I feel like he might be like the hot optimizer play tonight. And people just jam him as one-offs, but I will have him in stacks for sure. Maybe some Slavin or Brady Shea, reasonable prices on those two guys. And then Riley would only be in Leafs one stacks likely for me. Anything else?
I'd probably make a rule on Fantasy Cruncher just to include D'Angelo only on like stacking. I wouldn't one off him. I'd rather one off Slavin, Brady Shea, Brett Pesce.
Yep. Agreed. All right. Before we get to the next game, we're going to talk about the Awesemo Hall of Fame. We've talked about this on a few shows recently. You've been wondering, Josh, how to become part of the Awesemo Hall of Fame.
I feel like that guy. Let me in.
Yeah.
Let me in.
There's only a few simple steps, and you can look like Josh. Hopefully, we caught that. Mike caught that on stream, what you just did there. But you just got to download the Awesemo avatar from awesemo.com/avatar. You get a place in the top 3 of a contest with over 5,000 contestants. Don't send us a head-to-head with one of your buddies and, say, hey, can I get in the Awesemo Hall of Fame? Can I get my free month? No, you cannot. It's got to be 5,000 contestants. And we can look up your username on Lineup Study really easily. So don't try to cheat the system. But if you do get a top 3 spot in the 5K plus contest, and you tweet the win to @Awesemo Hall of Fame, you can win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. In fact, you will win a free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum if you follow all those steps. People that have been part of the Awesemo Hall of Fame recently, TJ Zwarek, he took down, $22,000 almost in NFL. This was last week with a Rodgers Adams stack. It looks like we've got DFS Reds taking it down 100K, beat the field by 3 points yesterday afternoon. That's pretty good. I see Adam ship my money share, NFL or NHL pro and NFL pro apparently as well, finishing in the top 5. And then Christopher Taylor taking down a 10x over on another one of our favorite sites. Same thing with this other gentleman here using the boom bust tool last night, took down $200. That's pretty nice as well. The win doesn't need to be huge. You just need to follow the steps. It can be for $100. It can be in the nickel contest for $50, or it can be, $500,000. You get those screenshots every once in a while. Run through the last couple screenshots. 5-pick flex play took down $1,000 for this user. And then Scoops Cody took down 100K in MMA. I think he plays NHL as well. I recognize the username quite a bit. So good to see a longtime sub take down over 100K. Hall of Fame, pretty good stuff. All right, last couple games, and then we'll do hat trick picks. We'll mention any goalies that we're really liking, and then we'll get out of here. Dallas, Columbus, 2.8 implied total for the Stars, 2.7 for the Jackets. Holtby, Merzlikins. This is another game kind of like Calgary and the Rangers for me. Stars lines look a little bit better. They don't look amazing, but you got Hintz, Pavelski, Gurianov. That's one that I've got my eye on a little bit. And then Blue Jacket side, not getting much ownership at all. What do you like here, Josh?
Yeah, in the back of my head, I keep hearing Cliffy go, top 6 for Columbus is pretty good. The bottom 6 for Columbus is really bad. So yeah, I think people are going to gravitate towards that Hintz, Pavelski, Gurianov line, and for good reason. They're super cheap. Hintz, Pavelski, power play 1. Hintz's minutes came up 17 minutes last game. He was down like 12, 13 at the beginning of the season, so maybe his minutes start creeping up. But for me, I really like the Peterson, Ben, Radulov line here tonight. They're going to get the bottom six of Columbus. I got like Cliffy with a little machete, like banging on my brain, just going, attack the bottom six, attack the bottom six. So like, yeah, I like Peterson, Ben, Radulov, Peterson, power play 1, Jamie Benn, power play 2. They're just as cheap, if not cheaper. They're going to get the better matchups here. So listen, you want to use the Hintz Pavelski line because you like it better, go for it. I'm going to have a little bit more of the Peterson, Ben, Radulov line. So yeah, that's what I like on Dallas. If you want a power play stack Dallas, sure, go for it. They're very cheap. They are a cheap power play stack. The most expensive player is Radulov for 4,200. I guess Miro Heiskanen is 4,800. Is the most expensive player on that power play. But Columbus top line, if you want to use them, I think that is also fine. They're going to be pretty low owned tonight. They have okay numbers in a small sample size, but Jenner, Line, Voracek, Stars have been a bit leaky defensively, so I think you can go there. But this is more MME, but maybe in 1 to 3, I'd consider one of the Dallas lines.
This Dallas, I just don't feel good about this Dallas spot, to be honest. Like, everybody sees the new lines, they look great. They're coming up in projections, and you mentioned all the top power play guys. Like, they're just cheap, and I think that's why we're playing them here. So when that happens, I try to go the other way. I think the Hintz, Pavelski, Gurianov line could actually be good. So I don't mind some of them, but if they're going to be 8% owned as one of they're priced like a filler stack. So I get that they're underpriced, but kind of like the Line, Jenner, Voracek trio as well. And then Bjorkstrand as a one-off guy, if you're doing that kind of thing on this big of a slate for 6,400. For the blue line, yeah, I don't really have a ton. Miro kicked off the top power play with Klingberg back. So Klingberg's just an add-on for me. And I think that's all. So pretty efficient on this one. Anything else?
Not particularly, no.
All right. Let's go to, actually, before we get to the last game, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. That really helps us. We're trying to hit 65,000 subs. We'll be there soon enough, but your subscriptions really, really help us out and help us combat the YouTube algorithm. We've got upcoming shows on the stream, so you don't have to go anywhere after we're done with this last game and hat trick picks and such. We've got a Yahoo NFL live show starting at 2 Eastern, NBA Deeper Dive live before lock, kicking off early for 4:30 Eastern. Yahoo's involved in that show as well. And then NFL Showdown live before lock at 7:15 Eastern. If you are playing the NFL Showdown tonight. I can't even remember which teams it is, but let's go to Kings and Blues. Know those two teams. 2.4 implied total for the Kings, 3.2 for the Blues. Quick and Ville Husso are expected to go tonight. Couple of backups. Cal Peterson's the number one, but we'll save that conversation for another day. Buchnevich, your guy, is back on line 2 with Shen and Kyrou. I like that line a lot. I'm a little worried that they're going to go up against Danault and Iafallo, and I don't love that matchup for them, but I do like them a lot as a line. Blues 1, getting very low ownership. I don't think Saad can come back. There was no update on him just yet, but what's one thing that you're really liking here, if there's anything?
My favorite spot on the Kings is the top line. Yeah, they're going to get the O'Reilly-Perron matchup, but like you look at these numbers with Victor Arvidsson there instead of, so good. Instead of like Alex Iafallo in seasons previous, their numbers are pretty good offensively and defensively. So, the O'Reilly-Perron matchup, they love to muck it up in the neutral zone, but Klim Kostin there, he's a young player, Niehouse's boy, but, I think he's going to slow them down a bit defensively. I think there is things to be had here for Kings 1. I also am a bit biased towards the Kings. I bet them to make the playoffs, but without Doughty, they are a mess defensively, but offensively, I really do like this Kings 1 spot. They're going to be low owned. And on the Blues side, my favorite line tonight is the third line. They're going to be getting the bottom 6 of the Kings, which is just, there's nothing there defensively. Tarasenko, Rob Thomas, very nice 2-man, very cheap. Tarasenko top power play minutes, 5,300 power play 1 in the bottom, going up against the bottom 6 of the Kings without Doughty with quick and net. Like, sign me up. I do like that second line. I do worry a little bit about the Danault matchup, but Arthur Kaliev moved up there. He's still a young player, so his defensive prowess probably isn't up to snuff yet. So I think you can get away with going St. Louis 2 here, but in this game, it's LA 1, St. Louis 3 for me.
Yeah, I like St. Louis 2, St. Louis 3. And if St. Louis 1 is going to be this low owned, I like them as well at that ownership. But I am a Kings 1 stan this season with Arvidsson. You laid out why. No Drew Doughty for this game. That's certainly going to hurt the Kings. Blue line, a guy that just plays a ton of minutes. So Matt Roy, is it Roy or Wah? I can't remember with him. I think it's Roy.
Forget. I think it's Roy. I think this one's Roy.
All right, him and Sean Walker. Those are two of your better values. Roy, top power play duties. Sean Walker, power play 2, but great rates for Sean Walker. So I like him a ton as a one-off. Parayko is priced up 5,500. And Krug, again, just a guy that I play in stacks only, just because he doesn't shoot a ton. He's always priced up a little bit. So have him in my St. Louis 1 or St. Louis 2 stacks. But we've got any goalies that you're fond of tonight, Josh? And then feel free to make a hat trick pick. I will add in mine as well.
My hat trick pick is going to be Vladimir Tarasenko.
All right.
I do like Spencer Knight if you're paying up for goalie. 8,500 on DraftKings is a bit tough, but I do like him. I like both goalies in the Rangers game. I also like Mr. Lickens, Elvis Merlickens at 7,500.
I like a couple of the guys we talked about early, just as cheap guys that I think can win. So I think the Sabres can win this game with Elliott and that, especially Craig Anderson if he goes. Anton Forsberg, I think, is fine. And then I like Freddie Anderson as well against his former team. My hat trick pick is also from the Hurricanes, Andrei Svechnikov. So I'm really liking the Canes. I want to see the world burn and Leafs Twitter just cry for the rest of the time. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks to our producer, Mike, for making the show look so good. Thanks to Josh for providing some great analysis. And good luck tonight, everybody. We will see you back tomorrow here with Cliffy and Josh.